Already mic testing, mic testing. Okay, perfect. Let me go to my main camera. Already we're live, and as you guys can tell by the title and thumbnail, today I'm going to be working on raycasting in Unreal Engine 5 using C++. That's last stream I did go over like basic game logic where I could like spawn or destroy an object on the using either empty spawn or backspace to actually destroy them. Although what I did want to work on was adding some kind of target logic where I could actually aim at a specific target, which is a character, the thing that I summoned, for example, my lead. And if a collision did happen, I wanted to like deal them damage if I had a health system or like kind of destroy the object or maybe get some kind of ability slash benefits. So I will be working on that this stream. Alright, so let's go to my gameplay screen. There we go. And guys, I think the intro is way too bland. Hi doing MJ, I appreciate you joining the stream. Okay, that said, let me go. This is like, I didn't have time to create a new chat for like clouds, so let's say something like Sensei I'm live exclamation. Maybe all uppercase. Let's go with something like Sensei I'm live exclamation. Okay, let's see. And guys, one thing that's so annoying about Claude is that when I hit enter, I'm so used to hitting enter to actually send my message. Here, enter does what shift enter does for like Gemini or Claude, and I gotta literally hit the send icon to like actually send my message. That's listen up everyone on this stream, and you listen up everyone on the stream, and you sit down and focus because today is not a joke. The will to win, the desire to succeed, the urge to reach your full potential. These are the keys that will unlock the door to the keys to unlock personal excellence. Guys, I cannot read right now. This was said by Conficus. Today we're not wasting a single second. This person in front of me is going to learn raycasting in Unreal Engine 5 from 0 to dangerous. Actually, I won't say from 0, I'll say from something like 15 or so because I did have a stream, I think like a few weeks ago where I did work on raycasting, but I just had one singular stream, so I don't know much about it, but I don't really know nothing about it as well. Okay, that's it, and the stream is going to watch them transform, blah blah, all the basic stuff. Before we dive in, quick question for you. How comfortable are you right now with C++ in Unreal Engine? Have you worked with things like the actor class, begin, play, slash take functions? I need to know where you stand so I don't waste time. Okay, let's actually think. So let's say something like, I think that I'm pretty good with the C++ content in UE5. I know how to summon characters. Okay, let's go with something like CHAR characters or actors. Let's go with something like R actors. In my level, I know how to use enhanced inputs to move or rotate my players, and I do know how to use U property at a basic level though, and also the T subclass of sys template to store the actor or character that I need to summon, and just the basics of the UE5 C++ program. Guys, I don't know if I kind of phrased this correct. Okay, how are you hiding up for? Appreciate you joining the stream. I think like I am honestly doing pretty good. After the raycasting concept, I feel like that I will be working on with like UI, so Unreal's graphics and all that, and that might be really fun to do. That's it. And the C++. What was I gonna say here? The basics of Unreal Engine 5 and C++ program. Okay, that's it. Let's go ahead and send text. There we go. I wish there's an option where I could hit enter. Like I instinctually always click enter. That's it. Good, good, good. I know exactly where you stand. I respect that you were honest with me, but let me tell you something. What you know right now is just a foundation. Today we build the walls, and the stream, look at this person. They just showed up knowing the basics that they're not about to level up. And they're about to level up in front of your eyes. Pay attention because this is what growth looks like. Oh guys, and I just realized Claude has a much different, is it called font compared to Gemini or like ChatGPT? That's it, the theoretical breakdown, raycasting in Unreal Engine. What you're doing, brother? Honestly, I am like working on raycasting this stream. That's basically what people do for like target logic, and invisible line to my target or whatever I want to actually aim at or shoot or do something in general. If a collision does happen of that raycast line and my player, I do some kind of content, or like I actually something happens, if that makes any sense. For example, if I have a target that has a health and I kind of aim at my player using raycasting and I click a certain button, for example, like my right mouse button to actually shoot my player, then my target is going to lose some HP. So that's basically what I'm learning. Okay, what is raycasting? Raycasting is essentially you shooting an invisible laser, the invisible line that I was talking about, from one point in the world to another point, from my character to my target, and asking Unreal Engine 5, did the laser hit anything? If it did, what did it hit? Okay. Think of it like this: when your character aims a gun, you're not actually shooting physical bullets, okay? Object flying through the air. Instead, you're firing an invisible ray, that the invisible line that I was talking about, instantly from your camera or gun barrel forward, okay? And if it hits an enemy, boom, damage, dead, done. Okay, and guys, I just realized I do probably need to drink some water. I cannot breathe properly for some reason. Alright, guys, let me just go ahead and dehydrate it real quick. I think that something is always really wrong when I start streaming without any kind of vocal warm-ups. Okay, in Unreal Engine 5, we call it a line trace. Unreal Engine's class raycasting a line trace. There are two main types you need to know: line trace by channel, this fires ray and checking against a specific collision channel, like visibility or camera. This is the one we'll be using. Okay, so line trace by channel, I have actually worked with like the line trace by channel a couple of streams ago. I think just like for one or max of two streams, but I did not have much practice about it, so I think we're going to be going here. This fires a ray and checks against a specific collision channel like visibility or camera. Okay, number two, line trace by object, and this is where Claude is just giving me theories about what raycasting actually does. Later on, I'm going to be actually experimenting these things. Okay, this fires a ray and checks against a specific object type like pawns, worlds, static objects, etc. I have not really worked much with like pawns or like, I think my AI controllers in general. I have like worked with the AI controller module where I do add that in my build.cs file. But I think there's like a whole different class which is about AI controllers. I need to work on that, to be honest, because that's mostly for like leaderboard and like global rankings and all that stuff. That's the key concepts you must understand: start point and end point. Every line needs two things: where it starts and where it ends. For a shooting mechanic, okay, where it starts and where it ends, I have worked about that in like SDL3. If you guys did like watch my stream from a while ago where I used to work with SDL, they did have a function which says something like SDL underscore create line or something, where I needed to give my X1 and Y1, which is basically my starting X-axis, actually X1 and X2, starting X-axis and ending X-axis. If I wanted multiple lines, I could go with something like Y1 and Y2 as well. That said, F hit result, who do I want to actually hit? This is the structure that gives you back after a line trace. Okay, it contains all the information. Oh, I see. So who did I actually hit? So this is basically like a report as to how many objects did I hit, and if I hit them, I want to do a certain thing once the action has ended. Okay, result.the get actor. Which actor did we hit? Result.impact pointer. Exactly where in the world did the ray land? Result dot a boolean check of blocking hit. Did the ray actually hit something, true or false? Here's the thing, I only worked with the result.get actor, not the impact point or blocked hits, so I gotta work on those. Number 3, collision channels. Unreal Engine 5 has a system where every object in the world has collision settings. Oh, there we go, just had to process that. Basically, yeah, this does make sense. Everything, like if you just like, for example, spawn a mesh in Unreal Engine and you run the program and try to walk over the mesh, you will feel some kind of resistance because the mesh is actually blocking your path unless you actually disable physics or disable collision. Okay, the world. To fire a line in C++, you need to access the world object. You get it by calling the get world. Okay, I have worked with get world. I know what it does. I'm pretty comfortable with using get world. You have to use this before when spawning actors. Do this. Okay, so this is not new to you. Okay, draw debug line. This is your best friend while learning. You can Okay, I have been using the G Engine add-on string debug message to like display debug text on the window to see if my program really works. But I actually did not know that we could actually draw a debug line. That might be something really useful. Okay, this is your best friend by learning. You can tell Unreal Engine to draw the invisible ray as a visible colored line in your viewport. Okay, I will definitely be trying this. So you can see if your character trace is going in the right direction. We will use this heavily during practice. That does make sense. Okay, bro, you're absolutely amazing. Don't stop. Just do things consistently, and one day you're gonna be something. Honestly, I actually need a world to appreciate you for. Okay, that's the flow. Okay, how it all connects. I want you to understand the flow before we write a single line of code. So, player presses shoot input, which could, let's say, be something like left mouse button. If we get camera location and camera forward direction, okay, we get camera location and camera forward direction, okay? We calculate the endpoint, camera location increases by forward direction multiplied by 10,000. We fire line trace from start to end, okay? Unreal Engine 5 returns F hit. We check, did we hit something? Okay, um, we check is what we hit an enemy. Oh, I see. If yes, apply damage or destroy. Okay, the function signature. I have actually worked with this function once where it says the line trace single by channel or signal by channel. Okay, and then I'm gonna go down, but I have worked with like the hit result. I gotta create a structure for this using the F hit result. And I have worked with ECC underscore visibility for like the general collision and all that, but I have not worked with like the start and end. So that's gonna be something new. It returns a boolean. If it hits something, okay, false if it hit nothing. So true if it hit something, false if it hit nothing. And investment is knowledge. And investment in knowledge pays the best interest, said by Benjamin Franklin. I honestly have never heard of that quote, but it's kind of cool. That said, this is a theoretical foundation. Now tell me, do you understand the theories? Let me say something like, I think that I understand the theory behind raycasting now. ... That said, can we practice on applying it in an actual program question mark? So I do have a program which I worked on the last stream where I have a character who clicks M to summon meats on the level, and if I hit backspace, I delete one meat at a time. I did use the T array to get access to my Unreal's array. Okay, that's it. Let's go ahead and send this. And while I'm actually sending this to Gemini, let me go ahead and grab my Visual Studio here and kind of run my program, because I do want to show you guys what program I was done with last stream. And I was actually about to start raycasting last stream, but I actually held myself back because I thought it's a pretty good content to have a whole separate stream on it, if that makes any sense. Let's wait for the program to compile. Okay, I guess while it's compiling, let's get Claude back up here. Okay, I love that. You came prepared. You didn't just show up empty-handed. And that tells me something about you. The stream sees it too. That project is perfect. We're going to build right on top of it. No starting from scratch. Eventually, I will be starting from scratch because I do need practice on the other topics as well that I've done. That said, we will with what we have. Okay, we work with what we have like a real programmer does. Here's what I need from you right now. Before we write a single line of code, show me your current.h file. I need to see your character class so I know what you have already done. I mean, okay, I guess we can do it. Alright, let's go with something like Control A, Control C. I'm gonna go ahead and copy my header files here. I wish there was an easier way to do this. Then I'm gonna go with something like Shift Enter and say something like this. That was my .h file. Then I'm gonna go with Shift Enter. And then let's go ahead and copy my C++ file. Let's go all the way up here. Paste. Did I not paste it? Control V. Wait, did I not copy it? Oh, wait, hold up, guys. Let's go with a bunch of Control Z's. Whoa. Control C. I hit Control V. I thought that it replaced my entire code with the wrong code. Gave me chills. That's Control A. Can I right click to copy? Fine, let's copy this. So now I'm gonna go here and paste. Okay. Oh shoot, I clicked paste as plain text. Why can't I paste the program here? Okay, but let me actually try to check that I scroll. Let's go Control V. Okay, what if I copy this and then I try pasting it? If that works. For some reason, my program was not, my C++ file was not copied. Alright up guys, let me try copying this again. Go with Control A, Control C to copy. Let's go to Claude here. Control V to paste. My program is not being copied. Maybe I'm gonna go ahead and kind of drag this myself manually. Doesn't make any sense to do it this way, because this has actually never happened to me where I couldn't copy my code. Control A. Okay, let's go ahead and copy. I copied it. Now I'm gonna go ahead and paste it. Guys, does this happen with you guys? Okay, I guess I'm gonna just send this real quick. Oh, whoa. Wait, hold up, wait. There are way too many. Alright, I think I see what I did. Well, no wonder it wasn't copying. Apparently, I was spamming my paste somewhere up there. Okay, wait, hold up. How do I delete it all? Editing this message will create a new conversation branch. How do I delete all this? I completely forgot this is how Claude works. Okay, wait, what if I go here? I mean, I guess it's, wait, let me, before we actually go with something, let me say something like, let's say, okay, let's say something like, let's say I sent so many .cpp files, but they're all the same. It was a, let's say, I don't know, I'll go with something like a, okay, I'll just go with it was like a mistake. Let's go with something like it was a mistake. It's just one header file and one CPP file. Okay, now let's go ahead and send it. This should actually work. I saw that the same file sent 12 times. Don't waste my time like that again, but it's fine. I got both files and I read them. Okay, we're good. Now stop worrying about the mistakes and focus. Did you read the code I gave you in my last message? I did not. Let's read it. Okay, let's scroll all the way up. Okay, step 1, what we need to add. Guys, I do like reading quotes here. It doesn't matter how slowly you go as long as you don't stop. That actually does make sense. Okay, what we need to add. Here's exactly what we're adding to our project. Create a new input action for shooting. Okay, we'll bind it left to the left mouse button. Okay, LNB. Declare a shoot function. So I gotta create a shoot function in my header files to basically just declare it later. I'm gonna define it in my header files. Declare a U input action called LMV action, which means that I would have to create a input action in my Unreal Engine as well. Okay, in your header files, number 4, declare a target class pointer so we know what are we shooting. Write a line trace logic in our C++, bind the action, set up player input component. Doesn't seem that hard, to be honest. Next up, step 2, change your .h file. Add these lines to your header files. Okay, so I need a U property. This is the most basic thing that I'm going to be needing. And then a shoot function. Step 3, change your C++ file. First, add this include at the top. Okay, this is actually a new include file, or like a new include, should I say library. I have worked with like engine/engine ties, but the draw debug helper.header file, this might be something really useful coming up. Okay, this is the include that lets you draw the debug line so we can see our way in the world. Second, add the shoot function, paste this after your destroy summon function. Okay, after your destroy summon function. So I go ahead and define my shoot function from my Alex's class. I firstly get my world, so I go with the U worlds, which is going to be represented by pointer called world that is equal to get world. And then I check if world is equal to null PTR, I return. Usually what I prefer doing is instead of going with a world equals to null PTR return, I do something like if my world is not equal to null PTR, and that's when I want to go ahead and run the content. It's like the same thing, but it just depends on preference here. That said, get camera location and forward direction. So I go with F vector, which does mean that I'm actually getting access to a three-dimensional vector and not just a 2D vector. Okay, my follow camera is gonna point towards get component location, okay? And then I'm gonna go with F vector, another 3D vector, that is gonna be equal to start, which is basically my, which is basically my follow camera, so get component location. I increase that location by my follow cameras get forward vector. Which way is my camera's length actually facing? Multiplied by 10,000. I want my rate to be 10,000 units away from my player, since this is going to be a gun that we're going to be using. And it'd be kind of stupid if the gun did not really go that far. Next up, define hit result. This will store what we hit. So we go ahead and use our f hit results as structure and represent it by a local variable called hit result. I have used this like in my previous stream when I worked with like raycasting. That said, define collision query parameters or params. I think that's the short form of parameters. Ignore ourselves so we don't hit our own character. I mean, it would be kind of fun if we could like hit ourselves as well. F collision query pawn, which is going to be represented by a local variable called query parameters. When I say pawns, I meant parameters. Then our query parameters is local variable is going to be using the dot add ignored actor this. Oh, I see. Okay. These are the basic kind of logic that's not really necessary, but it ends up being very detailed, so it's very good to know these things. That said, fire the line trace. So I go with something like a boolean of hit variable that is equal to my world, which is technically, should I say charter? For like, actually, I'll say it's like a permission that I have access to my Unreal's world, which uses a arrow mark operator to point towards a line trace signal by channel. That requires 5 parameters: hit result, start, and ECC underscore visibility, and query parameters. Draw debug line so we can see the array. Okay, red if hit, green if miss. Draw debug line, world start, ends. What does the question mark do here? I'm pretty sure it's something to do with the randomness. Fact check me on that, guys, but I've never worked with the question mark. Might have to ask that question, okay. But first, before I do ask questions, I do prefer seeing if the program really works. If it does work, then I work on studying it. That's it. Check if A hits something. If B hits, A actor, which is going to be represented by a pointer called hit actor, is going to be equal to hit dot get result. If hit results is null PDR, blah blah. Okay. Let me say something like, what does eCollision query parameters do in the shooting function? Let me say something like, since I don't want to work on studying the code just yet, I first want to see if it works. And I forgot, so let's go with something like FORGOT, forgot to mention that I had another character class besides my Alex, which is called Neat. That is the character that I spawn. It does not have any content in it though. Just an empty character class with, okay, let's go with something like class with the basic functions or with the basic source code that UE5 gives us. Okay, should I just copy the source code that you gave me in my program question mark? Okay, let's see. And guys, of course, always I gotta hit the send button. Okay, hey, stop there. I hear you. You want to see if it works first? That's fine, but listen to me very carefully. Do not just copy and paste. Do not just copy and paste code you don't understand in your project. That is not how we do things here. A programmer who copies without understanding is just a human. Control V machine. That actually does make sense. I do like actually tell you guys as well to not just blankly copy the code, but the reason I do it is because sometimes AI does make mistakes, and I'd rather like not spend too much time learning a code that's actually kind of wrong. That's the reason. Just to fact check, I kind of do that. But okay, but I'm fair. So here's the deal. We will do both. Put in the code, we run it, we see if it works, and then you explain it to me afterwards. Deal? I guess it's a deal. Now, about your beat class. Okay, good that you told me. Since it's empty, it's perfectly fine. The line trace will hit because it has collision by default as a character class, so no changes needed here. Now, first let me do this stuff. Okay, so I'm gonna bind action, graph parameters. Okay, so let's go up. I'm gonna go ahead and just copy this part real quick. I mean, there are a few things that it's kind of easier to do without copying. For example, I'm gonna go ahead and create a new property. Let's go ahead and add a comment here. Let's say something like LMB action. This is basically going to be my left mouse button action, where I'm going to go ahead and require a U property in which I want my left mouse button action. I want to be able to edit it anywhere. I want my left mouse button action to be blueprint read only. I only want my blueprint to be able to read it, not edit it. And then I want to categorize it under a category called something like input, because my left mouse button is an input. Okay, and then I'm gonna go ahead and represent my U input actions as class that I created. It's going to be represented by a pointer called something like LMB action. Okay, then I end this with a semicolon. Now, once I'm done with this, what was the next thing that I needed? Let's go ahead and grab plot up here again. Okay, the next thing that I needed was create a shoot function, then add the draw debug helpers as header files in my C++ file. I could potentially do my header files as well, but header file is mostly a file that should be pretty light because it just contains the declarations, not definitions. Then I add the shoot function, paste it after destroy summon function. Okay, so I'm gonna go under my basic functions and then add a void function called something like shoot. I'm gonna go with something like shoot, which does not require any parameter, ending with a semicolon. And then I'm gonna hit Control S to save the code. Now, in my C++ file, I'm gonna go ahead and scroll all the way up here, where under my engines as header files, I'm gonna go ahead and include draw debug. I'm gonna go with Intel Essence as well. Does not work? Okay. Draw debug helper helper.h. Was this the file name? Hold up, guys, my memory's kind of awful. Okay, let's see. Draw debug helpers.h. Okay, so the header file is correct. And then I gotta go ahead and just add the source code here. So I'm gonna scroll all the way down here until I don't find my destroy summon function. So this is the destroy summon function that I use to actually destroy a summon in my window every time I click backspace. Now let's go ahead and paste this. Okay. And then I'm going to hit Control S to save the code. The last thing that I do need to add is work on my bindings, but before I really work on my binding, I'm gonna go back to my Alex's header file because there's like a few things that Gemini actually forgot to tell. Actually, Claude forgot to tell. The first thing that I'm going to be doing is adding a Boolean variable or a Boolean check called something like B is LMB pressed. This is to check if my left mouse button is currently being pressed. Since when my program begins, I don't want it to be pressed, I'm gonna set this to be false, ending with a semicolon. And then under my Boolean void functions, and this might be kind of vague because I don't know what to really call these functions here, so I just call them like Boolean void functions because these functions are in charge of converting my Boolean check variables to be true or to be false based on whether or not a certain input has happened or a certain input has occurred. For example, I'm going to go with something like LMB underscore pressed. This checks if my left mouse button is being pressed. And then I'm going to go with something like LMB underscore released, which checks if my left mouse button has been released, ending with a semicolon. And then I'm going to hit Control S to save the code. Now, in my C++ file, I will be binding my left mouse button action, but before I really do bind it, I'm going to go ahead and open my Unreal Engine. Is it like graphics programming? Honestly, I wouldn't say it's actually like graphics, although I am using like the draw helpers, the draw debug helpers and header files, which basically counts as graphics because I will be kind of making my invisible raycasted line kind of visible. So it has like a little bit of graphics programming to it, but it's mostly about software engine. Actual software. I think it's mostly about working on game logic type stuff because there are like different basic chunks of codes that I'm working on just on the basic level for now because I don't really know if I want to really I don't really want to go over the most advanced details right now because that might kind of confuse me. And guys, that was the worst way that I could have phrased it out of all. Okay, but I think there is some kind of graphics here, but it's not completely focused on the graphics programming. The graphics section is just for me actually being able to see the invisible line. Okay, now let's go ahead and open my new map here. And wait, did I actually show you guys the program that I was working on, or like, no? Did I forget? Okay, I guess I could run the code. So basically, this is the program that I worked on last stream on like making last stream. Wait, hold up guys, let's just went in my, there we go. Where this is Alex, my character or my mesh. I can go ahead and move around. And if I were to hit M on my keyboard, I go ahead and summon a meat. It faces based on where my player is facing while it's being summoned, which could either be upwards or downwards, forwards or backwards. There we go. Okay, although once I have this, every single one of my summon is being stored inside of an array, which if I hit backspace, it says that my meat has been destroyed and they kind of just disappear off the window. Although if there is no other meats left in my window and I hit backspace, it said meat has not been destroyed because there isn't any meat in my window. But what I really want to do is kind of shoot my player this time. So if I hit my right mouse button, there, let's kind of exit this. Okay, now if I were to go to my, let's say content and I go to something like input, I'm going to create an input for my left mouse button. So I'm going to go ahead and type something like action. There we go. I'm going to call this something like IA_LMB, which is basically my input action for my left mouse button. Where I'm going to leave it to be a digital Boolean value because it's either my button is being pressed or not being pressed. Once I'm done creating this, I'm going to go all the way down here to my bind action. And then let's go ahead and add a comment here. So I'm going to add a comment that says something like bind action. Let's go with something like bind LMB action, where I'm going to go ahead and point my enhanced input component, which is basically represented by a pointer called EIC. Okay, which is going to be using an arrow mark operator to point towards my bind action. Now, in my bind action, I will be requiring a few parameters. The first parameter is going to be my action name, which in this case, it's my LMB action. And then I'm going to be requiring a e-trigger type, which basically means what kind of trigger do I want it to be? Do I want to keep shooting like a machine gun as long as my button is being held, or do I want to shoot once per click, if that makes any sense, or per one iteration of like pressed and released? I want to go with one iteration of pressed and released because I don't really want to work on a machine gun. That would be kind of broken. That's it. Let's go with something like a e-trigger event. And now my e-trigger event is going to be having, let's say, a event type of started. So if LMB action has been started on this object, I want to do what this function from my Alex's class tells me to do. The function is going to be my LMB_pressed. Okay, because when my LMB press function has been initiated, my boolean of is left mouse button is going to be set to true, which is going to in turn lead to me shooting my target. Okay, although I will be adding another enhanced input component, which is going to be for my bind action this time. Now, in my bind action, I will be requiring a few parameters again. The first is going to be my action name, which is going to be LMB action. And then again, the same exact trigger event. So I'm going to go with trigger event. Alright guys, when I said the same exact, I didn't mean the same exact trigger event. I meant the same exact parameter here. Although my e-trigger event is going to be using a scope resolution operator to point towards a event type called something like completed. Because now my LMB action has been completed on this object. Therefore, I want to do what my A Alex is. Let's go with something like LMB_released function tells me to do. Okay, that's actually pretty much it. Although for now, my LMB pressed and LMB release functions is empty. So I'm going to go ahead and let's say add a few content to it real quick. Okay, let's scroll all the way up here. So there, so I have my R and B functions, M functions, backspace functions. So I'm gonna add another comment that says something like LMB functions. Okay, now for my LMB functions, firstly, I'm gonna go ahead and add a white function from my Alex's class that uses the scope resolution operator to point towards my LMB underscore press, my left mouse button underscore press this function, which does not require parameters. I'm just gonna move on to the proper curly braces. Now, when my left mouse button has been pressed on my keyboard, when I get a reading through my Unreal Engine, I want to go ahead and set my boolean variable of is LMB pressed to be equal to true. My left mouse button has been pressed. In the other hand, I'm going to go with another white function from my Alex's class that uses a scope resolution operator to point towards my LMB underscore released, which again does not require any parameters. If my LMB pressed function has been released, I'm going to do the complete opposite of what my LMB underscore press function does. I'm going to set this to be false. And guys, I feel like I just did all the basic talking / explanation for like almost no reason. This was actually kind of pretty easy to understand, if that makes any sense. Okay, now that's pretty much it. Let's hit Control S to save the code. And then I'm going to move on to my Unreal Engine, hit Control Alt F11 to compile, and wait for my program to compile. Guys, why is my nose kind of itching today? It feels like I'm getting allergies. Okay, hold up. It actually says build failed. Is my header file's name wrong? So it does say I might have a typo. Cannot open include file draw debug.h. Okay, so I have a typo in my header's name. There we go. Okay, let's get caught up here. What was the header file's name again? It's draw debug helpers.h. Draw debug. Oh, I went with helper. It's helpers. Okay, tiny mistakes gotta pay attention to. Now let's go ahead and open Unreal Engine. I'm going to hit Control Alt F11 to compile the code. Okay, let's wait for this to compile. It only takes long to compile the first time. I mean, I guess that wasn't that long. Okay, now let's run the program. So if I were to go ahead and hit something like M, do I see a raycast? Okay, wait, that is my left mouse button. Okay, wait, I guess I did not kind of add my function here. I did actually add my shoot function. Okay, bro, still dependent on AI. And is a beginner but thinks he can write one algorithm for literally 3D shading, rendering. Your expectations too high. Honestly, is that true, guys? Is it like really hard to what's it called? Write algorithm for literally 3D shading, rendering. Okay, is that actually true, guys? Might actually ask Claude. Let's go with controller. Control C, copy that. Okay, hi Goku. I appreciate you joining the stream. Okay, that's sad. How are you doing, Kelsman here? Appreciate you joining the stream. It's been a while though. Okay, let's go ahead and paste this, and then I'm gonna go to my header files as well. Oh, I thought it was the other raycasting, not this raycasting. Honestly, it's basically the raycasting where I actually shoot my player, if that makes any sense. I will be later on working on the more advanced stuff. For now, I am going over the very basics, but I do want to add a logic where I can actually aim at my target, because I think that would be pretty fun. Okay, let's go ahead and paste my header files as well. Okay, something like, let's say, I did this and also compiled the code or compiled the program. Although when I summon a meet on my level and press my left mouse button, nothing really happens. Am I expecting something to happen? Question mark. The thing that I might be messing up on could be that I need to add my shoot function in my tick, so it actually, let's say, iterates every single frame or runs every single frame per second. Although that is like really let's say CPU intensive if we add a lot of content in our tick, so it's best to actually avoid that. Let's see if there's another way to do it. Good news, any problem, let me break it down. Good news, your code is actually correct and compiled. That is nothing. Okay, that is not nothing. Be proud of that. I mean, I did like copy this code to check if it works. The problem, I see it immediately. Look at your C++ shoot function is never being called when you click. You bound LMB pressed and LMB released, but those functions just set a boolean true and false. You never actually call shoot function. Oh, okay, hold up, guys. That was kind of stupid. So while I'm up here, I have something like a summon function, a destroy summon function. I'm gonna go with something like my bind shoot function. Let's go with something like bind shoot function. Oh, I see where I messed up. Oh yeah, guys, that was kind of silly. That was kind of silly. I'm going to go with enhanced input component. I personally started getting bored of coding and missing your streams. Honestly, I mean, yeah, I feel like the things that I have been doing is has been like more repetitive and like kind of tedious because I go over like I just take like tiny steps every single stream. But I think that if I do kind of rush up, I'm gonna end up messing up way more than I actually learned. So I feel like yeah, that might be one reason it's kind of boring. I was trying to think of something else that might be a bit more boring as well. Although later on in the future, I will be, let's say, working on UIs. That might be way more interesting. Okay, but before I do go over the UIs, I did want to work on the basics, so I actually do understand how stuff really works here. That said, so I'm going to go with something like bind action. When I click my LMB action, this is going to be the first parameter. And then a e-trigger event. Let's go with something like e-trigger event of started. Let's go with something like started. On this object, I want to do what my a-alex is. Let's go with something like a-alex is. Let's go with shoot function tells me to do. So I'm going to go with something like shoot. Okay, raging all caps ERAI. Raging all, guys, I feel like my new setup, my monitor is like kept way too far. Okay, raging all caps ERAI. I mean, honestly, I feel like that does sound kind of cool though, because like when AI starts yelling at you, it's kind of funny and makes for good content, I think. Okay, that's it. Now let's go ahead and open my Unreal Engine. I like your videos, bro. I'm planning to start a channel using a different account of mine and basically live stream and vlog my development journey. That actually sounds really good. That actually sounds really cool. Good luck with that, JD. Is that your pronounce your name? And definitely let me know how it actually goes. Okay, that's it. Let's go ahead and kind of get this here. And guys, speaking of the videos, I think that later on, once I do have a bit more time, I will start working on actually making tutorial videos for like Unreal Engine. So I could eventually like go ahead and watch them when I move on from Unreal Engine to like a different thing and then I come back to it, if that makes any sense. I did this mistake for like 5 games in STL3 where I did not make any tutorial videos, so I'm completely blank on them. That said, once everything is succeeded, I'm going to click my Alex's instance here, and then let's say I'm going to type something like input. Now in my input, I should be able to see my LMB action here, which I apparently did not link. Okay, I'm going to go with something like LMB. There, and let's kind of bind that up here. Okay, and I think that's actually pretty much it. Once I'm done with this, I'm going to go ahead and just kind of exit this. Let's kind of exit my input. Okay, and then I'm going to go to something like my IMC defaults. This is where I need to go ahead and add a new mapping, so my Unreal Engine really knows that an input has actually happened. So I'm going to go ahead and set this to something like a underscore LMB, which is basically my left mouse button action. I want to execute every time I click my left mouse button. And then I'm going to compile the code again. I've been thinking about it for a while. I'll document my personal projects I've been developing since 2019. That's actually so cool. Your videos have inspired me to pursue it. Honestly, it sounds really good. Good luck with that, JB. That's it. Let's go with Control Alt F11. And the best recommendation that I would give for it is like starting as soon as you can, because like the sooner you start, the more progress you make, if that makes any sense. That's it. Let's go ahead and run the code now. If I hit something like M to spawn a meet and then go with... Okay, so a raycast does happen, but it's not the kind of raycast that I think it is. Okay, I mean, I see a line. It's like hit floor. Okay, there we go. That's the kind of line that I want to see, but... Wait. Oh, okay, I think I see how it works. Wait, let me get some distance. Okay, let's see. So I kind of click here. There. I mean, it's kind of awkward, to be honest. This is not like the kind of ray that I actually expected. I'm currently working too, so time management is an issue that actually it does make sense. I do like have I do have like 4 courses in college too, so like I do understand how it is. That's the reason my streaming time has been decreased a lot, like considerably. Also, I would say like my progress in general, because before when I didn't have college, I used to like work on these programs. So like I used to work on the content that I was gonna go over on actually off stream. So I didn't struggle as much on stream. But these days, I'm just kind of completely blank as to what I'm gonna be doing. I mean, why is the line kind of? I mean, I won't say it's bad to be honest. It's just a little bit. Well, that was the first time I did not hit anything. That's the second time I didn't hit anything. Okay, it is kind of awkward. Sensor box looking raycast. Guys, it actually does make sense. I should work on a mesh. I did not know how to make flows till now. Okay, that's it, guys. That was one of the funniest comments that I've heard in a while. I'm definitely going to clip that up. Okay, so it's 42:27. Okay, that's it. Let me go ahead and get Cloud back up here. Okay, hi Longster. Appreciate you joining the stream. Guys, that was actually a really funny comment. That's it. Let's go ahead and say something like, say, I feel like it does work, but it's very hard to control the Raycast. Like I see a box and then I see a line, okay, line in a random direction when I turn around. Okay, I wanted a line that moves where I want it to move. Okay, let's see. Let's go ahead and send this up here real quick. Okay, yes, it works. The line is there. That means the raycasting is firing. Now we need to just fix the control problem. The issue is this. Your line trace starts from follow camera, but your camera only rotates when you hold RMB. So when you're not holding RMB, the camera is stuck looking in one direction and the line goes that way. The fix is simple. You need to also hold RMB and then click the shoot. Okay, but that's awkward and didn't... Okay, and not how shooters work. So let's fix the real problem. Your camera should always follow your mouse. Oh, I see. RMB is linked to my camera. My whatchamacallit. Let's say that my camera, the way my ray actually shoots, it's coming off my camera. So unless my camera is not in front of my player's head, that wouldn't work, if that makes any sense. I was trying to be funny, even I guess I'm a natural comedian. That actually does make sense. Like, there are so many shorts in my channel where, like, I uploaded, like, whatchamacallit, the comments that Council here said. He's, like, a really, really funny guy. That's it. Look at your look function right now. So, a Hollywood function, if RMB pressed, this is the problem. Okay, you're looking at the camera rotation behind RMB. Remove that condition so it becomes wide A Alex. Okay, so add controller yaw input, add controller pitch input. So I have F input if RMB pressed. I mean, I don't really want to do that. You know what? I think the RMB does make sense here. Let's go ahead and run the program. So I can move my RMB and I can shoot. Oh, okay, there we go. That makes so much more sense. So I have RMB to move around and I can shoot while my RMB is being pressed. And all of a sudden, this looks completely insane. Oh, that looks so good. Okay, this looks absolutely majestic, guys. Okay, I want to go ahead and aim up there. Then I want to aim up here. I hope this isn't making my stream laggy. It's kind of fun to play. Okay, let's go with M. Now, let's get back to some work. I'm going to go ahead and kind of try aiming at my meat. There we go. Okay, wait, it says... Wait, I want to see if I hit the meat. Hit floor, okay. Okay, BP meat. So I did hit my meat as well. So it says... I'm hitting my floor a lot. There we go, finally. So I'm hitting the... Oh, so when I hit the meat, it's like my line gets... I see. So every time I hit the meat is when I get the sensor box up here. Well, that's basically saying that I hit. Every time I did not hit, I miss. If I look straight this way, then that way I don't hit it. So it's green lines. If I hit down, it's red lines. Okay, why did they carve out a butt for the test model? Honestly, I did actually make this. I was trying to work on a 3D model, so I did not I had like very less experience on how to make this stuff. That's the reason I was trying to go as realistic as possible, but I did not really whatchamacallit, add any kind of clothes or skins because I don't really know how to work on that. Okay, let's go all the way up here. That's it. Let me go ahead and just kind of exit this now. I see how this works. Let me actually get Gemini up here and say something like, say, I think that I see ... Um, it's actually good now that I understand how to use it, but the Raycast also shoots from the back. Is it possible to have two cameras where one camera is on my player's face that does the shooting, and the other camera is for my third person perspective? If that makes any sense, because the line that I see right now is let's say it's tabbing my player, and I don't think stabbing is a good player. The line that I see right now, let's go with something like right now, goes through my player. There we go, because the line does actually go through my player. Let's go ahead and hit enter real quick. And now, good observation, your brain is working, but you do not need two cameras for this. That's overcomplicating. The real issue is simpler than this. The line goes through your player because your follow camera is behind your character on the spring camera. Okay, so the race starts behind the player and goes forward. Okay, the frick is just typing. And she be typing anything that actually does make sense. I gotta like work on my typos. I think that I have like so many typos that I try typing fast while actually telling what I'm gonna type. Okay, remember this form, the shoot function, e-collision. I did not really learn the code yet, so I'm gonna be learning that in a bit. This ignores your character, but the visual debug line still draws from behind your player, so it looked like it goes through your player. The actual trace is fine. The real professional fix, okay, to shoot it from the center of your screen. This is how every real shooter game does it. You ask the player controller for the center of the viewport and shoot it from there. So a player controller, replace your starts ends in your shoot function with this line. The start end. Okay, so I go with a player controller, which checks if the controller that I'm actually having right now is my Alex's player controller and not someone else's player controller. And then I go with something like an if statement to check if my player controller is not null PDR. There's an alternative to this that I actually prefer doing. I prefer going with if my PC is not equal to null PDR. That's when I want to execute this. I don't want to check if it is. Okay, but both actually does the exact same thing. And then I go with something like, okay, NGA means the N-word. Honestly, I do know it, I just don't want to say it. Okay, bro, is just a AI prompter 2 steps away from being the AI, bro? Guys, that actually sounds kind of fun. That's an integer viewport X, viewport Y. I have not worked with these, should I say keywords? And then my player controller points towards viewport size with a parentheses. The viewport size is a function that requires two parameters, viewport X, viewport Y. And then f vector, I get access to a 3-dimensional vector where my world direction, which is represented by two different local variables, world location and world direction. I did not know we could do stuff like this. That said, my player controller points towards the project screen position to world, viewports is x-axis divides by 2, and viewports is y-axis divides by 2 as well. World direction, world rotation, world location, and world direction. F vector start, F vector end. Okay, I just want to try this first. And guys, this is one reason why I actually prefer like copying the code to check if it works, so I can actually fix some logic errors and later on study the code. Because once you study the, if you like ever study a wrong code, which I don't think this really is wrong, but if you do study a program in the incorrect way, it's hard to like relearn that because you gotta like completely rewire your brains. Let's go ahead and kind of paste this here real quick. There, PC is not equal to no PDR. There. Okay, and if viewport, blah blah blah. I'm gonna control S now. Okay, and then let's go ahead and get Claude up here, and then actually not Claude, let's go ahead and get my Unreal Engine here. Then I'm going to Control Alt F11 to compile the code. Let's wait for it to compile. This time I'm pretty sure it's actually gonna work. Okay, get cursor puts the AI into your editor, and you'll become an official vibe coder also. Honestly, that's one thing. I don't really want AI to be inside my program fixing it for me or like telling me exactly what to fix. I mean, it's good for learning, but then that's one reason why I completely disabled like Copilot from my Visual Studio and even like mostly into lessons unless I don't type like control and space, because they literally wrote the entire program for me before I even like started typing. Actually, once I started typing, they like gave me the entire program. That's something I try to avoid because I want to kind of use my brains as well. But the reason I do actually first prefer like copying the code is to understand the syntax and like study the code. For example, I don't really know what the viewports is x-axis and y-axis does, so it's pretty good to first understand those things. Once you do have your basic tools, then you can kind of implement them into logic. Okay, that's it. Let me go ahead and get my Visual Studio up here real quick and now run the code. If I were to hit the space, it still kind of stabs through me. Did I hit Control Alt F11? Okay, let's see. There we go. I think I forgot to hit Control Alt F11. I think I did though. Okay, to be honest, just abandon that AI. What you enjoy Skyrocket, or is it? Honestly, I haven't heard of Skyrocket. What does it do? I mean, it still kind of shoots through me. Let's go ahead and exit that. Now, the way I might actually be able to fix this is if I were to actually come all the way up here. Okay, let's go ahead and click Alex. In my Alex, I'm going to find my follow camera. And then I'm going to just kind of position my camera to be a bit in front. So I'm going to firstly hit something like E to rotate myself, let's say back to 0 degrees. And then I'm going to hit W, get myself a little lower. What I'm actually going to do is kind of get my camera and set it to be my head here. Guys, I don't know how to like phrase this. I'm going to like replace or like cover my head up with my camera, so this is how I actually see my player now. Okay, let's get this a bit sure. Okay, so now this is what my player is actually going to be seeing, and then I might want to hit something like R to decrease the size of my camera. Wait, I think I increased it there, and then I'm going to hit something like W to get a bit in front there. I think that's perfect. Now that is my camera, that is my player. My player sees from my camera's point of view. So it's now first person and not really third person. I'm going to go with Control Alt F11 to compile the code real quick. Let's wait for it to compile. Okay, and then once it's done compiled, I'm going to go ahead and exit that and run the program. There. If I hit something like right click, and there we go. That makes so much more sense. Now I can finally shoot my, should I say lasers? Let's go with something like M. I spawn a meteor. Let's kind of aim at my meat and kind of shoot. I did hit the meat. I did not hit the meat. I hit the floor. I hit the meat there. Okay, and if I hit backspace, my meat kind of disappears from my window as well, which I could potentially spam a bajillion meats and then hit backspace and kind of just delete these meats up. Okay, it actually works now. Alright, perfect. I guess I'm going to work on studying the code. But here's the thing. Guys, my nose is so annoying right now. I think I'm getting allergies. Okay, that's it. Let's go ahead and get Gemini here. Let me see something like, let's say, it works, exclamation. I just replaced my camera to be third person, to be my player's head. Now I see the beams shooting. There we go. Excuse me guys, that said, I will be studying the code now and asking if I need help or did not understand something. Okay, let's see. Let's go ahead and send that code. Now let's work on learning it. So basically, let's start with the most easiest thing that I did in this that I implemented for adding this logic. First thing, I went ahead and I created an LMB action, which of course I will be needing because I am going to be using a left mouse button. And then I added a boolean check, I added a boolean void function, and also I added a function for my shoot. I also created a shoot function or declared a shoot function, and then I moved on to my C++ file to define those things. So when it comes to defining, firstly, I went up ahead and I included my draw debug helpers as header files. This is what makes me actually see my raycast. And then, hi doing hacker, I appreciate you joining the stream. Okay, and then I scrolled all the way down here and I let's say defined my LMB functions to do something. Then I went all the way down again. Basically, there wasn't that much, to be honest. In my shoot function, this is the complex part. First, I get my world. Then I check if my world is null PDR. If it is, I go ahead and return. And then I work on getting my camera location and forward direction. That's something new. For getting my camera location and forward direction, I firstly go with something like a player controller, which is going to be represented by a local variable called PC. I set that equal to my cast template that requires my a player controller inside of it with a pair of parentheses of my controller. The reason I can actually access controller is because I'm inside of a void function. If I remove this void here, okay, then firstly I will be getting a red underline here. Secondly, my controller is going to give me an error as well. That was the kind of thing that I actually messed up a lot on back. I think like when I first started Unreal Engine and working with like casting and all that stuff. That's sad. And then I go with something like int32 viewport x viewport y. Okay, this is something that I don't really understand, so I will be copying this real quick, but let's read it once. My player controller then points towards the get viewport size, viewport x, viewport y, and then I go with something like f vector, world location, world direction, PC that points towards the project screen position to world. Okay, I do not understand that part, so let's go ahead and grab Claude here real quick. Okay, the expert in anything was once a beginner, said by Helen Hayes. Is that how you pronounce the name? That's it. Let's go ahead and paste this. I'm gonna go with shift and print something like say this might be the first thing that I did not understand in the program. Can you explain it to me? Question mark. Okay, let's go ahead and send this real quick. Okay, good. This is exactly the kind of question that I want from you. You stopped, you thought, you asked. That is what well programmers do. Let me break it down piece by piece. So int32 viewport x, viewport y. I think int32 is like a 64-bit, but I gotta actually fact check that real quick. Okay, we're just here. We're just creating two variables to store the size of your screen. Think of it as how many pixels wide and how many pixels tall is my game window. PC, which points towards get viewport size, viewport x, viewport y. Okay, can't my guy use Google for once at least? Honestly, does Google really help with this stuff? Let me actually try it. I'm gonna kind of copy this. Because I don't know if Google can really, this thing, because like, generative AIs, they give explanation and help, but I've never tried that with Google. Let's actually copy this. And then I'm gonna go ahead and paste this here real quick. Yeah, this is actually what Google gives me. It's like, I get these bunch of, Epic Developers community. That is what Unreal Engine is from. Let's try clicking this real quick. F vector, viewport X, viewport Y. Okay, that is here, but I feel like there's so much. Okay, honestly, it's not really that bad, to be honest. Int size. But here's the thing, they have the program with like, I don't know, I didn't read it, so I can't like really tell anything. There is like a lot of reviews from like actual people up here. If these are actual people or they're just developers. That said, let's go and exit this and let's read the explanation back. Okay, so we're just creating variables to store the size of your screen. Think of it as how many pixels wide / tall is it. And then my player controller points towards get viewport size, viewport X, viewport Y. We're asking the player controller, hey, what's the size of the screen right now? And if it fits those two fills those two variables with the answer, and it fills those two variables. Oh, I see. Okay. So basically, my viewport X and viewport Y is just two variables that I create for like that are that start at being empty. Then when I use the get viewport sizes function, it gives me the answer. It gives me the answer. Actually, it stores the answer in my viewport X for what is the width of my level, and it stores the answer for the viewport Y, which tells me what is the height of my viewport. Okay, that was actually kind of easy to understand, just hard to phrase the first time. And it fills those two variables with the answers. For example, viewport X equals to 1920 and viewport Y is 1080 on full HD screen. F vector, world direction, two more variables. Okay, two more basic variables that we create, which actually, should I say that we declared because they've not got any kind of definition inside of them? These will store the answers to the next question, where in the 3D world does the center of my screen point? Where in the 3D world does the center of my screen point? Next up, PC which points towards the project screen position toward. This is a new function. This is the magic line here. This is the magic line here is the concept. Your screen is two-dimensional. It has x-axis and y-axis pixels, x and y pixels. Your game world is three-dimensional. It has x, y, and z coordinates. This function converts a two-dimensional screen position into a three-dimensional world position and direction. We pass it viewport x divided by 2 and viewport y divided by 2, which is literally the center pixel of your screen, and it gives us back two things: world location, which is where that center pixel exists in the 3D space, and world direction, which is the direction that pixel is pointing on the world. And then we use those as our start and end for the trace. This is, oh, that is why it always shoots from the exact center of your screen, no matter where you look at. Let me fact check something real quick. Did that shoot from the center of my... Okay, it is actually the center of my screen, to be honest. Like, that is kind of the center of my screen. Later on, maybe I want the center of my screen to be my mouse, if that makes any sense. Guys, wow, I love playing with this for some reason. Hey, this actually feels like a pretty good machine gun. Can I hit the sun? Okay, wait, never mind. I guess I gotta stop getting distracted. Okay, I think I see. So, I'm gonna add a comment here now. Okay, create two empty variables, and then store the Windows width. Okay, create two empty variables. Okay, to store the Windows width and height. Okay, and then I'm gonna go here. That's actually, I might add a comment here that says something like store the, actually, I think I'll go with something like store the Windows. Let's go with something like Windows width and height. So I'm gonna go ahead and store my width and height here. Okay, and then the next thing that we do, we go with F world, world location, and world direction. We create two more basic empty variables here. I'm gonna add a comment that says something like create two empty variables. I mean, I think the variable is pretty empty. Let's go ahead and delete this. I think Ganazla, appreciate you joining the stream. Okay, let's go with something like create two variables. Okay, to store, let's say my world's is location and my world's is direction. Create two variables. Okay, to store the world's is, I'm gonna go with something like the world's is direction. DIRECTION, direction, and location, LOCATION. Okay, what are you doing, bro? Honestly, I am like working with what you call the Raycasting in Unreal Engine, where every time I click a certain button on actually my left mouse button, I actually shoot a ray which is being usually that ray is invisible, but this time it is being actually drawn on my window using the draw debug helpers header files. Okay, can you stop this? Okay, I don't understand you, bro. Honestly, if you if you don't understand this part just yet, you can do two things. either wait for my next stream. That's where I'm actually going to go completely in depth for this, because this stream I just did kind of see if the program really works by copying the code. Or you could actually go backwards in my stream, or like at the start of my stream where I did start actually working on this program, if that makes any sense. That said, I'm going to add the comment here real quick because I want to actually show you guys in case you guys can understand what I'm doing. Alright guys, let's hit control S to save the code. Now if I were to go to my Unreal Engine, can you talk on slowly? That makes so much sense, guys. There are like so many of y'all who actually come up and say me I talk really fast to actually slow down. So I might try to talk a bit slower from now on. I keep saying that, but I always forget that. Because for some reason I actually talk really fast. That said, I'm gonna go ahead and run my program real quick. This is my program, that is my character. Every time I click C, actually every time I click M on my window, I spawn a meat. Every time I click backspace, I delete a meat because all the meats that I spawn is being stored in a vector. But the thing that I was really working on this stream was raycasting, which means every time I click my left mouse button while my right mouse button is being held, I shoot a ray from my window, which shows a green line if I missed and a red line if I hit something. If I missed, it says no hit up here using a debug message. If I hit my floor, it says something like hit floor using a debug message. And if I hit my meat, let's try aiming, it says hit meat using a debug message. That's like basically what I was really doing. Although, even though the program, did I actually did something? There we go. Even though the program did really work, I wanted to like kind of understand the code that I wrote the shoot function, because there are like a few things that I did not really understand here. So I was gonna work on that. Speaking of which, draw debug line. There we go. This is one line that I definitely need help with, but I was going from the very top. Okay, that said, once I'm done with that, create two variables to store the world's direction and location, and then I point my player controller towards the project screen position to world. The project screen position to world. What this basically does is that I always shoot from the center of my screen, right? Let me read the explanation again. Okay, well done. Let's go. Okay, let's go out of it up here. So where's the D project? There we go. This is the magic line here. Here's the concept. Your screen is two-dimensional. It has X and Y pixels. Your game world is three-dimensional. It has X, Y, and Z coordinates. This function converts 2D screen position to a 3D screen's world position and direction. Okay, guys, I was silent because I was trying to phrase this up. That's it. So basically, this converts our two-dimensional screen's position to our three-dimensional game worlds. Convert 2D screen. So screen is 2D. I need a small explanation right up here so I can later on kind of understand this. Screen equals to 2D position. Okay, and then I'm gonna go with something like game world equals to 3D position. Okay, this function converts our 2D screen to be a 3D, converts our 2D screen to be a 3D what? Okay, are you really an Indian guy? Honestly, I haven't like been to India, but then whatchamacallit, pretty excited someday to visit it type stuff. Let's go out of up here. So I have viewport, world location, world direction, start, end. Your screen starts at 2D. It has x-axis, y-axis, it has x-axis, y-axis, z-axis. This function converts 2D screen position to a 3D world. Converts 2D screen position into a 3D world position and rotation. Okay, so converts 2D screen position to a 3D screen. Let's go with something like 3D screen position and location. There we go. I'm also an Indian guy. That actually does sound kind of cool. Okay, let's go all the way up here. Convert 2D screen position into a 3D world position, into a 3D world position and direction. Into a 3D world position and direction. And guys, these comments might seem kind of irrelevant right now, but later on when I do work on reviewing the code and all that, these comments are like a lifesaver because I don't need to really go back to like Claude, ChatGPT, or Gemini and ask what does this block really mean. This gives me a basic overview. There. Okay, so this function, so screen equals 2D position, game world equals 3D position. This function converts 2D screen position to a 3D world position and direction. But what are you trying to do? Honestly, I'm just trying to now work on the basics of the raycasting here because I already got the program to work. That's what I usually work on doing. Now I'm just studying the code, if that makes any sense. Okay, and then later on I will be writing it on my own practically next stream. I'm just reviewing this before I kind of end the stream because I do have some other stuff to do as well. That's it. Once I'm done with that, get start and end. So let's see the explanation for my start and end as well real quick. We pass it viewport x-axis divided by 2, viewport y-axis divided by 2, which is literally the center of your screen, and it gives us back two things: world location, which is where the center pixel exists in the space, and world direction, which is the direction that the pixel is pointing. Okay, then we use those start and ends for the line trace. This is where line starts and ends. Okay. This is where the raycasting line starts and ends. Oh, understanding, bro. I see. Okay, that's it. Once I'm done with that, I go ahead and define my hit result. I have worked with the hit results in my previous raycasting video, which was, I think, a couple of weeks ago. Okay, this stores what we hit. So basically what this does is if I hit something, it actually stores in my hit, and then later on I do something based on what result has been stored inside of my hit result. It could either be that I hit a floor, it could either be that I hit the sky, that I hit my niche, or I hit something in general. Okay, define collision for pawns, ignore ourselves so we don't hit our own character. F collision for pawns, which is represented by a local variable called. When I said query pawns, I meant query parameters. Okay, query parameters. Ignore ourselves. So if the query parameter dot. Okay, I want to ignore myself. So anything besides me actually gets hit. For the line trace boolean hit, my hit variable, whatever result I got, points towards world line trace signal by channel. Okay, I need some explanation in this. Did not understand this. Okay, that's it. Let's go ahead and get Claude back up here. Let's paste it, go with Shift Enter, and say something like, okay, I did not understand this part now, dot. Can you explain it to me? Okay, which company are you working? Honestly, I'm actually not working on any company or like doing any kind of jobs in general because I do want to first learn the basics of programming. The reason I'm not actually working is, working on making some kind of projects or like softwares or actual game that I will be publishing and all that stuff. In future, I definitely will, but for the time being, I don't really know my basics completely well, so I'm just kind of building my foundation, and eventually I will be actually getting much better at this stuff. That's good. You're going through it line by line. That's exactly what I wanted. Let me break it down. F collision query parameters, which is represented by a local variable called query parameters. This is just creating a setting object. Think of it like telling Unreal Engine 5, here are the rules for how this line trace should behave. Query parameters dot add ignore actor this. And this means yourself, your own character. We're telling the line trace, when you fire, ignore my own body, don't hit me. Your own character, capsule, and never reach the enemy. Okay. Did you try the game I told you? Actually, I did not have enough time because I was like really busy doing my assignment last stream because I do have an exam. Wait, not last stream. After I ended the stream yesterday because I did have an exam next week as well, but I will definitely try it maybe this Tuesday. Okay, you really look like a child, guys. I'm actually 18 years old. Okay, actually I did turn 18 this January. Although many of you guys do say me that I still do look like kind of a child. Maybe I think it's the camera that makes me look a bit younger. Okay, boolean hit, so world which points towards line trace single by channel. This is the actual shots being fired. It returns true if it hits something, and false if it hit nothing. We store that in our boolean check of hit variable. Now the parameters are inside. If it resolves the empty bag, we hand to Unreal Engine 5. It fills with the info about what was hit start, where the ray begins, center of your screen in 3D space, and where the ray stops at 10,000 units. Okay, I guess I see. I mean, I think I understand the very basics of it, but then okay, I might need some more explanation on this. I might have to read the explanation again and all that stuff. That said, so I have something like hit actor.get name. Actually, I think that I might work on this next stream because I do have like a lot of college assignments to do right now. That's the reason I did like cut my stream from 2 hours a day to like 1 hour a day. But next stream I will like kind of go over, I think like the rest of this chunk of code, like from draw debug line on the window all the way till my B hit results, and then I will be working on actually implementing this on a project so I do understand mostly, because when it comes to reading and like the theory part of the program, I feel like it does help at the start, but the thing that really helps is actually typing the code out. That's when I actually understand what does what. But I don't think I have enough time to do it today because I do got class tomorrow. So my tomorrow stream is going to be relatively later than when I started streaming today. And there we go, guys. I again forgot that I was going to talk slow. That's it. Let's see Gemini something like, actually Claude. I keep messing up Gemini with Claude. Let's see, Sensei. I think I understand it just a little, but I don't think that I can work on the entire program today since I do need to work on my college assignments and that I have an exam next week. Okay, dot dot dot. That said, I will be ending the stream right now. So before I do end the stream, is there anything that you want to say to the viewers? Question mark. Guys, you guys might think that I have like a lot of typos, but I actually could say that it has like improved way more than it did, like way more. Actually, it improved like so much, like a whole lot compared to when I first started streaming. If you guys do check my Python streams where I actually tried typing faster, every single word that I had did have a red squiggly line. That said, stream, listen up because I have something to say. Today you watch someone show up, write real code, I mean kind of copy the code because I was just checking if it works, debug it, and build a raycasting mechanic from scratch. This is not small. This is not nothing. Okay, this is not small. That is nothing. Remember this feeling because this is what growth looks like. Success is the sum of small efforts repeated day in and day out, said by Robert Schuyler. I think that's how you pronounce it. And to you, go handle your college work, go study for that exam. Real champions know how to prioritize. Their code will always be here waiting for you. But when you come back, I want you to be able to explain every single line of that shoot function to me. No excuses, no skipping deals. Okay, now go, take care of your responsibilities. I'm proud of what you did today. See you next stream. Okay, that's it. I'm off. Honestly, I appreciate you sticking to the stream. Happy moments. I'll catch you next stream. That's it. Let's go to my main camera. Whoops, there we go. Let's go to main camera. Alright guys, so basically that was pretty much it for the stream. If you guys did enjoy the stream, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, like, helps my algorithm, share makes you smile, and subscribing, click at your top. That said, I did start multi-streaming on Twitch to YouTube. I will start multi-streaming on TikTok and Instagram as well. So if you guys really enjoy my content and haven't followed me there, make sure to follow me there. The link will be in the description, and also join my Discord server. That's where I usually talk to you guys, chat with you guys, have general conversations, give you guys the roadmap, subscribe me. For the record, I do like have a Python roadmap and a C++ roadmap. I did not have time to make a SDL or a Unreal Engine roadmap, which I will eventually be working on. And you guys can get access to my Discord server through the link in the description, through my bio, or by typing !Discord on chat. And you guys can get access to my socials by typing !socials on chat, which gives you guys access to my Instagram, or if you guys want my other socials, for example, Twitch. Let's say Twitch, TikTok, or like Trovo, you guys can get access to that through the description, through the link in the description, or it's in my bio as well. That was an awful outro. That's it. I'll catch you guys in the next live stream or video. Peace.